What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a good evening. Gonna have a little fun tonight. I'm gonna talk about how to score a whitetail deer, what different things you come across, and what different questions you might have if you've never done it or if you've never had a deer scored. It's not too difficult. Some things you'll need is if you're going to just green score it and stuff on your own. Okay, since it's unofficial and you're doing it on your own, you can use a little flexible, retractable tape measure. So you can use one of those. I always carry a few of them around with me. Someone wants a deer green scored, I can pull it out and green score it. But let's talk a little bit about how exactly you can score a deer. So got some sheds here from the past few years. So here's a shed from a few years ago, and this one's unique. You can see that little bump there. Got a little 4-point side, nice little, right, 2.5-year-old buck. Here's another shed. Okay, you can see that we have a unique point right there. Okay, what's that all about? And then we get this all the time. Well, what happens when I have a deer that only has 3 points on the side? Where do I get my measurements? What goes on? And again, these are sheds just for fun. If you are scoring a set of sheds, which you can if you have a matched set of sheds. These aren't matched, but if you have a matched set of sheds, okay, every single set of sheds gets the same inside measurement. So if you go to a place to get your deer scored and you can get matched sheds scored, or just one side scored, okay, all of the deer will get the same inside score credit. Doesn't matter if it's a spike, 4-point or whatever. If they're matched, they'll get an inside score credit. And people can explain that to you. Official scores can explain that to you. Not going to give away all the secrets, but so we're talking about scoring whitetail deer. So if you found a set of sheds, or I have a few racks over there I can grab here in a minute. One of the first things you want to do, okay, one of the first measurements you're going to make, obviously, if you have just a shed, okay, or if you have an actual rack. Let me grab an actual rack here to get as well. Okay, so if you have an actual rack like this, shot this guy a few years back. So if you're just going to score it on your own, one of the first things you want to do is you want to measure the inside spread. Okay, and you will measure that inside spread at the widest point inside, staying perpendicular. Okay, don't move. Okay, anything, you keep it straight. Okay, I fish too, Lane King. All right, and so you guys can ask questions. I shot a 8-point with my uncle. Oh, sweet. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get your inside spread. You can go and you can print off a score sheet for whitetail deer on Pope Young or Boone and Crockett's website and do this. What is my biggest bass? Oh, I've caught a few 3-pounders. I don't fish a whole lot anymore, but I've caught a few 3-pounders. You'd think living in Erie I would go fish more in Lake Erie and the tribs and stuff. But so we're looking here. So the first measurement we want to do is the inside spread. You would measure that inside spread, stay perpendicular. Okay, you do write that down. Write that down in the area in the score sheet that has the spread. Okay. Okay, G1, G2, G3. I don't know what's going on with the internet here, but we measure that main beam. So what would that look like? So go into my little rack here. We'd start here, and you were going to find the center of the antler, and you can see this dotted line, and you're going to follow it the whole way out to the very, very end to the tip. Okay, And so that's how you would find your main beam length. And you would write that down in your main beam, okay, length place. So once you have your main beam length, you can start doing, okay, the other measurements. So you notice here, this doesn't have a G1, all right? This has a G1, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna look, okay, this is your right side, this is your left side, okay? Can I ask you something? Yeah, go ahead, ask me a question. Diesel Lover 21, you can ask me a question, okay? So what you want to do is you want to find and start with your G1, okay, G2, G3. And so what you're going to do is you'll use a piece of wire. Some people use something else, but if you want to do it, and what you're going to do is you're going to find and you're going to draw a line, okay, keeping that in line as if that point, if it weren't there, if it didn't exist. You'll do the same thing there. You'll do the same thing there. Okay? So that's how you get your lines of symmetry. Have you ever tried cheese pizza with fried beans on top? No, I have never tried fried pizza with fried beans on top. Is it any good? Because that's definitely something that I would probably try, because I do like green beans and yellow beans. Okay, so if it doesn't have a G1, you won't have a measurement for that. So this is your G2. So then you would find the center here, and you would take your, again, we can just take this flexible tape measure, make sure it's on the side, width, okay, inches, and we can measure, okay, the whole way down to that line we made, and you're going to use eighths. And so you seem like a cheerful feller. Hey, Jesus loves you too, my friend. God bless. And you would get 8 2/8 inch, and you always do it in eighths. People are like 8 1/4. No, you do it in eighths. Okay, so that would be your first one. You'd write it down where the G2 is, and you'd continue out doing the same thing for each one. So if you just have a regular typical, okay, rack like that, or regular typical rack like this, okay, with the 8-point, again, you would find your line for your G1, your G2, your G3, okay. But let's say what happens if you have something like this, where you have a point right there. Obviously that's not an inch, that doesn't count as anything, but eventually you can use that for something else. Okay, same thing, here's your brow tine, G2. Okay, you would get your measurement across there, measure your G2, and then again this, because this is, okay, in here it's on the top of the main beam. I'm a spike horn. Okay, this would actually go into the non-typical category because it's a tine. Okay, I put mayonnaise on my PB&J. I've done that before. Mayonnaise on PB&J is actually pretty good. I don't mind that. I actually like marshmallow fluff on my PB&J as well. It's pretty good. And so this would go in as a point out of sequence. That would go in your non-typical category. Okay, because I know this buck didn't have the same point on the other side. So once you go through and you get all of your, okay, all of your lines drawn and all of your measurements and put them on your page, okay, you can then go to what we call the mass measurements. Okay, and your mass measurements, okay, are the C1 measurements. Okay, and because this deer doesn't have a G1, okay, you're going to take your C1 and C2 measurements there, and this is where people goof up. A lot of people will put and find the thickest area here. You have to actually find the smallest area here. If it has a G1, you're going to get your first mass measurement right between, this is called the burr, and the G1, and you would find the smallest area there. Here's your H1 measurement, H2, H3, and a lot of people are like, oh, I got to stop because I don't have anything there. Okay, that's actually not true. Every buck gets 4 mass measurements, 1, 2, 3, and then you would actually get a mass measurement out here after you would measure from here to there and split it in half. Okay, so why is this important? Okay, when it comes to something like this, okay, you would get your first mass measurement there, second there, third there, and because this tried to grow a point right there, you would get your fourth mass measurement, your H1, right there. Okay, Danny McNally. that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Okay, and so you would have your measurements. Okay, there. So once you have all of your measurements from all of your up tines, your G1, G2, G3, okay, and your mass measurements, H1, H2, H3, H4, okay, you would put all those together and you would add them up, and then you would also add your inside spread in there, okay, and then you would end up getting a total score. A gross score is the complete score of a deer without any deductions. Some clubs do deductions, some clubs don't. Pope and Young, Boone and Crockett do deductions. Buckmasters and Northeast Big Buck Club do not. Okay, Buckmasters is a little bit different. They have a percentage of stuff you got to add into everything. But mostly on a clean 8-point like this, you're not going to have very many deductions. Okay. When you put all your numbers together and put everything together, this deer turns out to be about 117 inches. I know it looks bigger than that, but that's what it goes. As I've scored it a few different times. Okay, so people are like, "Oh man, that buck is huge," right? Why this buck is not as big as what you think is, it doesn't have a whole lot of mass, and you get a lot of points for mass. This buck I think has about 24 inches of mass. The inside spread is okay. It's about 16 inside. Okay. Brow tines are a little bit smaller. Main beams aren't actually too terrible. Okay, they're over 20. If we just put a tape to one here real quick and just get a rough estimate on how long the main beams are. I think they're about 22. And again, this is just with a flexible tape measure. And you follow that the whole way out. Yep, they're 21. So your main beams are 21. The other one's about 21. So you got 42 inches of main beam. Okay, and then again you have about 9 inches in the G2 and about 5 inches in the G3. So again, you can look up and find a scorer, okay, and have someone score a deer for you if you want. Or you can go on YouTube and see a video. You can follow this video. And again, what you're trying to do is make sure you have lines of symmetry. Okay, here's your main beam, whole way out. Okay, you make sure you cut your lines right there along the beam. Okay, as if they didn't exist. Then you measure from the red line. Trenton Curry, congratulations on your 9-point, man. December 3rd. What state were you in? Were you in PA? What state were you in? That's pretty cool. Have you ever had your 9-point scored? And then you would have your mass measurements, your H1, circumference 1. Some places call them H1, C1. You have 1, 2, 3, and because there's no brow tine, then you get that there. So when you have a buck like this that only has a G1 and a G2, okay, a lot of people are like, uh-oh, Georgia, cool. Never hunted in Georgia. I'd like to make it down to Georgia and hunt sometime. Furthest south I've been is North Carolina. I lived in North Carolina in 96, 97, and I hunted down there. And deer get big down in Georgia. I've been seeing that. Please stay away from children. Okay, so you got a mass measurement here, a mass measurement here, and a lot of people are like, okay, what happens here? All right, you would actually measure from here to there, cut it in half, and you'd get the mass measurement, okay, in there twice. So whatever this mass measurement is, you'd get that twice. Because again, every deer, big bucks in Maine. Yeah, there's some big bucks in Maine. Big bodied bucks. Never been to Maine. Want to go to Maine and do some bear hunting. Maybe even try and get on a moose, get a moose tag. But that's how you would score that up. And again, you could do that. Okay. Again, with just a flexible tape measure, we could do this up real quick. And there's apps on your phone you can go and download and add your stuff in and come up with a score pretty easily. But we can do a main beam here real quick and do a little bit of adding. Trenton Curry, 10 years old. Congratulations, buddy. Don't you have school tomorrow? So that's 21 inches. So we got 21 plus 3, 24. 24 plus 8, 32. And then we got our mass measurement, so we're 32 already. Do our mass measurement. And we add 4 to that. 32 and 4 is 36. Find our next one. 36 and 3 is 39 and a half. And then we get our last one. We're at 39 and a half. Another 3. 42 and a half. So you're looking at, just on this antler alone, 42 and a half inches of antler. If on the other side it was 42 and a half inches of antler, you're at 84. And inside spread, you'd be over 100 with just a 6-point. I bow hunt and I rifle hunt, but most of the time it is bow hunt. Game meat is nicer than, yeah, game meat is way better than pizza. I went to church today and the priest got you. I meant to say to you, but yeah, I bow hunt and rifle hunt in PA. We're allowed to do that. Inside spread on a set of sheds, every set of shed gets an inside spread of 18 inches. Doesn't matter. So if we would do, again, this one, okay, you could do inside spread with a flexible tape measure just to get a good roundabout idea, but you want to keep it perpendicular. So the inside spread of this buck is about 14 and a half. Getting a new bow in a few days. Awesome. What type of bow you getting? Logan, I'm getting a new bow in a few days. Good. I meant to say, okay, yep, buck. What is your biggest buck? Well, if you want, we can take a walk around the room here and I'll show you what we got. Let me clean that up. Here we will see if we can flip the camera around. Whoop. All right, we'll do this. So, what's my biggest buck? So, that buck's from Ohio. Obviously, of an axis deer and an aoudad, wild hog, sika deer, ram, black buck antelope. That buck is from Bear Archery Species XT. Hey, that's a good bow. Okay, over here we got top buck is from PA. That buck is from Ohio, PA. And then we got some bucks here on the floor. Some other deer here. Okay, here's a few deer from just the past 2 years. And then we got Ohio, New York, Ohio. These are my 4 biggest deer. And then we got Ohio, Pennsylvania, top one is Pennsylvania, Ohio, nice pretty 10-point from Ohio, 9-point from Ohio, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. This is my first buck I ever killed back in 1992. This one's PA, and then I got a few fallow deer down there. We're in New York. You live in New York, okay? So this buck right here that I killed in New York was actually up by Peak and Peak, which is just not too far away from me. I live in Erie, Pennsylvania. A buddy of mine has 100 acres up there, and I killed that buck a few years ago up on his property, not too far away from Peak and Peak. All right, do you do your own taxidermy? How do you afford so many mounts? Well, I have a buddy who's a taxidermist, and I go and I work at his taxidermy shop 1 to 2 times a week. And oftentimes, if there's a new form that comes out, we will mount a buck that I killed on the form just to check it out. So I'm basically working at his place to get my deer done, and we do it year round. So 2 days a week I go down to his place and go do a bunch of work and basically work for my deer. Nice. I'm by the border of Pennsylvania by Buffalo. Cool. Yeah, so I'm just south of Erie. Not too far. It takes me about 2.5 hours to get up to Buffalo. I'll go up to the Cabela's in Buffalo every once in a while. Actually, I worked at the Buffalo Cabela's for some companies and did some stuff up there. Lots of work. Yeah, I said I do a lot of the grunt work. My buddy does a lot of the mounting stuff. I do a lot of the grunt work. I do a lot of the hide work, turning them inside out, getting all the fat and everything out of them and everything. So that he can get them tanned up and everything. He tans all his stuff in house. So the quicker we can get them taken care of, and the quicker we can get them skinned and in the pickle and get them tanned up, the sooner we can get them mounted. And he does an excellent job. Logan, you've been to Erie a lot? Yeah. I said I used to live not too far from Erie. I live further south of Erie now, but it's the closest metropolitan area. I did scuba in Crystal Lake, Florida. I don't think I ever visited Chris River. That was a super long time ago. Interesting. But you live in Crystal River, Florida. Cool. How are the deer down in Florida, if you don't mind me asking? I've been reading a lot about deer hunting down in Florida and how it's starting to take off and get a little bit better. You're at Crystal River now? Okay. Cool. They're not that big, but kind of. Yeah. Our average buck here in Pennsylvania, where I live, there's a lot of ag, corn, soybeans, and stuff. Our average 3.5-year-old buck will dress out at over 200 pounds. What do y'all do with the meat? I'm assuming you probably cook. We eat a lot of venison. I actually have 3 freezers here in my basement. I got 2 kids, and my son has a lot of food allergies, so we have to be extremely careful with what he eats. So we found the best thing is to just use venison. And so we eat a lot of venison. We eat a lot of ground venison. We do a lot of sausage, a lot of roast, everything like that. Shout out Sharon, PA. I grew up in Slippery Rock, not too far away from Sharon, PA. Been to Sharon a lot. Used to play basketball against Sharon back in the days of Mike Archie and those goofballs. Played basketball against those guys. But yeah, we eat a lot of venison. We eat probably venison 2-3 times a week. So we do eat a lot. You have your axis deer. Yep, I got an axis deer. Let's see. I'll show you my axis deer. So here's my axis deer right there. And axis deer is one of the best eating deer that I've ever had, other than this guy right here. This is a Sika deer, and black buck antelope on the end is very good as well. So we like to eat a lot of wild game. What school do you go to in Crystal River, Florida? Okay. Guy who fixes golf carts. Where's the axis deer from? Down in Tennessee. Wilderness Hunting Lodge in Tennessee is where I went to go down with the axis. I have yet to go to Texas. I would like to go to Texas and hunt some axis deer down there, and hunt a few other things. I'd like to hunt some oryx down in Texas, or find a place to hunt some oryx. Any Sasquatch up your way. Pennsylvania is well known for Sasquatch sightings, particularly out towards Penn State. It seems like every few months there's a sighting of a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. In fact, like I said, they have Sasquatch rendezvous and all kinds of other stuff that people go to. Your dad has a ranch down in Eden, Texas, right outside of Brady. Cool. I hate those hogs. The only thing that will screw up will go. Yeah, the hogs are pretty bad. Okay. 350 deer. Whoa, 350 deer mounts. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. Yep. Jack Link's jerky. But yeah, a lot of sightings of Sasquatch and things and stuff like that around the center part of PA. What are the odds of Bigfoot being real? Who knows? You have no idea if he is or isn't. There's too many sightings all over the world for me to sit there and go, oh, he's not. So my friend in Cranberry Township sees them. Sweet. I don't know anyone who's ever said that they've seen a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot, but you would think with all the trail cameras and stuff out there, someone's going to get a picture of one here soon. Bigfoot was the real version of Tarzan. Trenton Curry, do you make your own jerky, or do you just go and buy some? What do you do? We try to make a lot of it here. We got a dehydrator and try to make a lot of jerky. But again, this is a good representation. Are you from Central or I'm Western PA, actually Northwest PA, just south of Erie, over by. Actually, I'm just south of Edinburgh. Edinburgh's 6 miles away. Okay. They said the same thing about the Loch Ness Monster and Chupacabra. I love the Loch Ness Monster and Loch Ness. I think one of the coolest things about Loch Ness is you can take every single person on the planet and put them in Loch Ness and line them up from the bottom the whole way and put them on people's shoulders. You can take all 8 billion people and put them in Loch Ness, and no one's head is going to come above the surface. It's absolutely deep and wide. It's pretty cool. Easton, I'm from Northwest Pennsylvania. So, duck jerky. I got a few friends who do duck and goose jerky. I don't know if I'm a big fan of it. I mean, jerky. If jerky's cooked well, I will generally eat it. And if it has a good flavor to it, I think one of the most unique jerkies that I've had is we got a guy around here who will make beaver jerky, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. A few months ago when I was in New York, I live all the way up in mountains. I think I heard a Wendigo. Yeah, spend a lot of time out in the woods. You'll hear all kinds of goofy things. So, but again, wanted to pop on here and talk about how to score a whitetail deer. I don't live in the state where that hedgehog lives in. actually, they keep finding new animal species basically every day in the rainforest. So you never know. And there were some different types of fish that they thought were extinct years ago, and they keep um, finding those as well, which is kind of unique. What's behind me? Right there, or the skin I'm sitting on. So behind me, right there, that is a black buck antelope and a Corsican ram is what's behind me. And then I got a few turkey over there as well. I got 2 turkey back here. It's nuts how Ohio has some monster deer, in Pennsylvania not so much. It's actually not nuts. We have close to 900,000 hunters, and Ohio doesn't. We have a 2-week rifle season. Ohio doesn't. Ohio has better soil with more nutrients in it than our PA deer do. Ohio, you're allowed to bait. PA, you're not. I do score deer, so I get to see some really good deer here. If more people would, I think, be patient and pass on deer, we would have a bunch of bigger deer. But again, I have a bunch of deer down here that are pretty above average for Pennsylvania. But you are right. I travel to Ohio all the time to hunt over there. Just the opportunity to shoot a bigger buck is a little bit more. We got the 3 points on each side restriction though. We do. Over here where I live, we have, it's got to have 4 points on a side essentially here in my part of PA. We're one of the few areas that has a 4-point side. Do you hunt moose? Never been moose hunting. Want to go? Your grandparents live up north in Michigan. We got an overhead trail cam. We had a big buck shed its antlers right. That is cool. A lot of deer around here still have both sides of their antlers on. Yep, this is a deer skin. This is an axis deer skin. Axis deer were originally from Asia, and after World War II, after U.S. soldiers saw axis deer during World War II, a lot of guys went back over and got a bunch and brought them back to Texas, and that's how there's populations of axis deer now that we have in Texas and in other places, and guys raise them and all kinds of other things. But yeah, it is different. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. So it's just one of those. It's just one of those things where you put all that stuff together, soil and all that stuff. Any cases of CWD by me? We have been extremely lucky that, to my knowledge, we haven't yet had any cases of CWD by where I live. Area south of me, it was pretty bad. Other areas I know of, it was pretty bad. The Ashtabula County is where I hunt in Ohio, and I don't believe there were many cases over there. CWD is just not enough. Predators picking off the old one. Yep, predators do pick off quite a few older ones and even younger ones, especially when you get into fawning season. They do pick off a lot. We got lots of coyotes around us. We try to get those back. They've introduced fishers. Okay. So I don't know what Manure World is or Gold World is. Sorry, Mike. Don't know what that is. But yeah, so, not a whole lot of stuff with CWD. We even had a really dry year last year, and we worried about CWD and possibility of having CWD, but I didn't find any dead deer around us. Doesn't mean that they weren't around, but I didn't see anything that I noticed or whatever with CWD. So, yeah, from what they're saying, CWD has been around originally in mule deer herds out west, and has just slowly spread over time. If you really think about it, even like a plague, like bubonic plague, when you go back into medieval times, bubonic plague, CWD, if it doesn't kill a deer, you know that deer is extremely healthy. And when CWD goes through, it's only going to kill the deer that have a genetic marker that can't withstand that virus. So yeah, it kills a lot of deer, but your deer herd is going to probably bounce back and be a lot stronger over time, and you'll have more healthier deer. It sucks the prions, stay in the soil. Yeah, it does. Sasquatch. I love your name, Sasquatch. Rose farts. Got it. We actually have a fisher season here in PA where you can trap them, and so we get to see them. I've seen a few around my house. I saw one morning turkey hunting. I actually watched it climb up a tree and try and take out a turkey, but it wasn't successful. And the taxidermist I work with, he usually mounts 2 or 3 of them a year for people. If you could, would you go bear hunting? I heard bear meat was honestly good, and imagine the story. I've been bear hunting. We have bear in PA. I actually have quite a few bear on trail camera. I've never killed a bear. I have eaten bear. Bear chili is really good. Bear steaks, if cooked right, are really, really good. But then again, I've had bear that wasn't very good. So again, it's like anything. If you know how to prepare it and know how to cook it, it can be really, really good. And so you have to make sure that it's prepared well. I was using my squirrel call, and a red fox just ran over and stopped in front of me. He was like 6 foot away from. Yeah, we have a lot of reds. We have a lot of red fox and even gray fox around here, and yeah, they will come and they will, check out, especially squirrels. A lot of squirrel chatter and stuff like that. We actually had a mating pair of foxes had a den on my property last year, and they had 4 or 5 kits. Mink only ate a bit of the sturgeon. Yeah, we got some mink around here as well. Groundhog is pretty good too. I have had groundhog jerky. We kill a lot of groundhogs around here. Yeah, groundhog jerky's not too bad. Okay. A mink dove in the pond and bit the back. All right, you need to come to Florida. I'm sure you would love to go. My son and I actually were at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg just last week. We were looking for a gator hunt. We thought it would be really cool if we could go together and do a gator hunt and see what that is all about. I used to go to Florida all the time when I was younger. Used to spend a lot of time in Lake Wales, Florida, and we would bass fish, and we'd stay at a camp, bass fish and all kinds of stuff, and we'd get out on the pontoon boats and go, and we'd see gators all over the place. It was awesome. Does hunting boar in Florida really taste better? That's interesting to know. We don't have wild boar in PA, so I got to go out of state to do that. Again, I think that is up to how people are preparing it. We hunt cougars in Florida. Yeah, you guys do have free-range cougars there. What was the weight of your biggest PA buck? Let's see. This year, I killed a 4.5-year-old 8-point this year, and he dressed out at about 215 pounds. So live weight, he's about 250. You can't do that here. Gator don't play that. Gators don't eat. Just open your back door and gators will walk right in. No need to hunt. You must have a ton of gators then down there. Like I said, I've seen a bunch. Even down when we went to South Carolina on the golf course, we saw lots of gators and had a pretty good time with trying to figure out what the gators were doing, and if they were real or if they weren't. So that was always a good time. Hey PA, I'm in New York City, just getting into hunting. Not easy as a city kid. Just keep getting out, keep reading, check out YouTube videos. Paul Gates, what are you hunting? Hunting deer, turkey. It's not easy. I spearfish saltwater in Florida, but I did not mess with gator areas. I think spearfishing would be a lot of fun. That has piqued my interest. How you ever came across a gay deer? Oh my goodness. Gators are the biggest, too small, but yeah. A lot of dogs and a lot of cats. Yep. Yep, they're a threat. I don't know. You guys probably get news stuff on the news all the time with, like the other year, was it 2 years ago that one small kid was killed in Disney, eaten by a gator. You know, you gotta be careful in their natural habitat. So, but what other questions? What other questions you got? Especially if you're wanting to know how to score deer. Again, this is just a fake one. If you spearfish, just make sure you do not use a pole spear with a rubber band or anything that you cannot immediately kill. A big fish will pull the band. Interesting. Ever eaten a goat? Well, I have had goat. My grandfather used to love cooking goat and making gyros. He would always make gyros out of goat meat. His goat meat, seasoned up really good, was excellent. Other goat meat that I've had, not so much. Haven't hunted anything in the city but rats this far. However, got a venison quarter gifted. I would imagine that in the city, there's got to be some big rats. Pythons are, yeah, I heard pythons were becoming a big problem down there. Interesting. Are they going to have a python season? Do you have to get a python tag? And iguanas. And you guys just had a cold snap, and I was seeing that the iguanas were falling out of the trees dead. Is that true? You can't eat bald eagle. It's like a federal offense. They're using remote control rabbits to lure pythons out. That is pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. Our biggest snake up here might be a black rat snake. You should move up into the mountains in New York. Plenty of deer, bear, squirrels, and fox. Good. You trying to eat America? No, I'm trying to eat America. Sticking to the good stuff. Sticking to venison, wild game, turkey, ducks, geese, those things. Get a chance to eat any of that stuff. So, what's up, man? I hear the elk population is, yeah, elk population is expanding in PA, even with the hunts they have every year. Hey, thanks, man. Love the mounts. We got a few over there. And again, I just went around my basement down here. But the elk population is getting bigger, and they kill some record book bulls every year. If you ever want to go see them, you can go to Benazet and hear them bugle. And somewhere online, there is a live camera from the where the main elk building is in Benazet. So I'm a taxidermist in Maryland called Oak Ridge Taxidermy. What's up, buddy? Yeah, I help a friend do taxidermy, and I don't do any of the artwork or anything. I do a lot of the grunt work. Getting all the fat and getting all the skin and everything off the inside of the the hide, and then once I get that done, he'll throw it in the pickle and we'll get it taken care of. Did anyone hear that there was a gator found in Lake Erie? Yeah, someone let one go, and they did find it. What do I have for breakfast? A lot of days I don't eat breakfast. What happened with the fish boat that sank up there? We have some. Yeah, that's a black buck. All right, Oak Ridge Taxidermist Owl. I'll go around my room again here for you. You can check out some of my mounts. Yeah, Jesus Christ is King. God bless you, buddy. Amen. So here we go. So I got my black buck antelope. I got a Corsican. Got a Sika deer, and then I got a hog. Got a aoudad, one of my axes, and then this is an Ohio buck. Top buck is PA, bottom buck is Ohio. PA. And then I got a bunch of just Euros and stuff down here. Hog head, a mouflon, fallow, a bunch of PA bucks that I've killed in here. These are bucks that I killed, let's see. This one was 2003, 2004. Then I got Ohio, New York, Ohio. And then we got Ohio, PA, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Pennsylvania, 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 Pennsylvania. And then I got my fallow deer back here. Here's one. Got a chocolate fallow and got a white spotted fallow. Remember that guy in Alaska who hunted humans? I don't know. Biggest whitetail bro. All right. So I'm an official score, and I've had this scored. This buck is 208 inches. That one is pushing 190. That one's 180. And that one's 170. I used to feed deer outside my house. I feed deer all the time by putting food plots and stuff in. Here in PA, we're really not allowed to feed them. What are your favorite wild game? Well, to eat, I really like elk. I really like moose as well. I have never killed an elk or a moose. I rely on some friends. I'll trade some stuff out. I have a couple Wisconsin bucks around 140 to 160, but got my biggest in Minnesota. 174 8-point. Dude, that's an absolute stud. Absolute stud. Thanks, Oak Ridge Taxidermist, man. I appreciate it. Are you close to Maryland? I'm not close to Maryland. I am up in the northeast quarter of Pennsylvania, up by Lake Erie. So I get all the lake effect snow and get all that fun stuff. I'm about 25 minutes away from the Ohio border, so that's why I got a bunch of Ohio deer, so I can pop over into there with that. I've eaten squirrel a few times. To be honest, not a huge fan. I haven't hunted squirrel in a long time. I'd rather hunt rabbit. Rabbit's really, really good to eat. We can hunt pheasant over here. Pheasant's really good. I'm mainly bow hunter. I do have rifle hunt, but primarily I bow hunt just about everything. There are times when I will bow hunt during our rifle season as well. I really just like shooting my bow. Yeah, rabbit's delicious. I don't eat a whole lot of duck. I haven't been duck hunting in years, and it's kind of a shame because I live up, they said not too far. I got French Creek right down the road from my house, and a lot of people go and jump shoot wood ducks and stuff. Crossbow, nope. My kids have a crossbow, but I'm still kicking and shooting a compound. I'm thinking about getting a traditional bow and trying to trad bow here and for a few seasons to see what I think. I have had quail. We don't have any natural quail anywhere around here, so I would have to go south to jump in and shoot some quail. But I have had quail. We do shoot a lot of doves. Dove meat is really good. That's one of the first seasons that comes in here in PA. So we do shoot a lot of doves. What else? We have a lot of turkey. We can shoot 2 turkey in the spring and 1 in the fall. I've been worrying about Lyme disease. Yeah. So my son, 4 years ago, got bit by a tick and ended up with Lyme's disease, and it has affected him. I got bit by a tick last year, but never tested positive for Lyme's. I was lucky. Anytime I go out, I wear a tick suit underneath my clothes to help prevent that. And I spray down with a lot of stuff. I might get my grandfather's 80-year-old recurve. See, that would be cool. That would be really, really cool. And then to shoot something with that would be awesome. Have you ever read Juxtapose? I've never heard of that author before. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. No, that would be cool. He said, I want to get a traditional bow. I'm left-handed. I shoot left-handed. So it's sometimes kind of difficult for me to find stuff left-handed for me to shoot. I do have a friend who makes bows, traditional bows. I might have him make me one. I had a 200 plus in on camera last fall, and he disappeared off camera 2 weeks before archery in Minnesota. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, unfortunately, we go through a lot of poaching as well. Oak Ridge Taxidermy, you're lefty too, buddy. Awesome. Yeah, it's lefty. I do everything right-handed, but I shoot a gun and a bow left-handed. Even I shoot a pistol left-handed. I'm left eye dominant, and so therefore that's what I got. Just got my first deer with a recurve, and it was amazing. See, I said I got to try it. Everyone's saying it's great, and you can go out and stump shoot and do a bunch of stuff. I think it's coming. I just gotta find one and find the time to practice and put some time in. Put some time in to do that. If you guys go to my main page, you'll see, if you go to all my videos and my shorts, you'll see tons of trail camera videos of deer working scrapes. One of the key things that I do is I've written a book on scrapes. I have my own gland lore line, and have come up with a rope that is unique or different than any other rope on the market. It's the only rope on the market that has leaves on it. What was the symptoms of Lyme disease? Well, we knew my son had Lyme disease right away. We didn't know he got bit by a tick, but the one day he got out of the shower and he came out, he's like, why do I look like a leopard? He literally had leopard spots completely over his entire body. He was complaining about being tired, complaining about his joints aching and stuff like that. So when we saw that, my buddy's an ER doc, I took a picture of him and sent it to him, and my buddy's like, you gotta get him to an emergency room and get him to see someone right away. I do go fishing, not as much as I used to. You give me something to hunt or something to fish, I'm going to pick hunting all the time. But I do live up here by Lake Erie, by the Tribs. We have steelhead that run in the spring and in the fall. I haven't been steelhead fishing in a while, but we'll go up and catch walleye in the lake. My buddy's got a boat. We'll go up and do that. But for the most part, do a lot of just traveling on fishing ponds. This morning I got a dove that can be hunted year-round. I'm going to use it for fish bait. Yeah, I've heard dove can be good for fish bait. Come to Minnesota and I'll show you fishing. I'm sure you guys got some pretty good fishing. We have some very good fishing down around here in this area, and people from all over the world actually come down here to Erie to fish the steelhead in the fall, and the lake trout and everything else. But yeah, Minnesota's the land of a bazillion lakes. What's the temperature up in Minnesota right now? Because we just actually warmed up here. What's today? Thursday. Monday morning it was minus 15. Tuesday it was minus 7. Wednesday it was 48 degrees, and today it was like 25 degrees. So I've only fished in Big Bear Lake. Interesting. What do you usually catch in Big Bear Lake? You got bass, trout, muskie, walleye, pike. It's a lot of stuff we have around here. Catfish, we get big channel catfish. Some of them are decent to eat. Temp was 50 today and 40 yesterday. That's not too bad. Not too bad for Minnesota. I guess next week it's supposed to warm up a little bit more. We gotta melt off about 2 feet of snow. What are the first fish? No. I just subscribed. I will definitely be watching your video. This is what I am all about. Cool. Yeah, and again, I got my own website. You got any questions about stuff? Let's see. I'll show you. So here's my book I wrote, Nonverbal Whitetail Deer Communication. I have it also in a ebook for $8. This basically goes through and talks about all the glands a deer has and how they use them to communicate. And so you got your stuff there on where the different glands are, and then the book goes into talk about how you use each gland to hunt, predominantly preorbital, interdigital, forehead. But again, I've come up with my own gland lore and have that. The first fish I have ever got was bullhead catfish. Cool. Yeah, and again, you can go on there. You can find my book on Amazon. If not, I sell it on my website. I got a few different books, but this one, if you're interested in mock scrapes and how to run mock scrapes year round, my scrapes are still being hit by deer. Do you sell the gland? Yep, I do sell the gland lore. It's called Head Scratcher. I don't have any on me right now because I'm meeting my buddy in West Virginia who makes it for me tomorrow and picking it up. But a 1.25 ounce bottle of my gland lore should last you 2 to 3 years because you don't have to use a whole lot of it. And I also sell, I'll show you the ropes then. So I started developing these back in 2022. So this is how my rope is different than everybody else's. It actually has leaves on it. And if you go on my if you go on my page there, you'll see the rope. Okay, you just untwist all that, put the leaves out, and the leaves are on there on purpose because you do a lot of hunting, you'll realize that once all the leaves are gone, bucks like to make scrapes under oak tree and beech trees just because they have leaves. Yes, I hunt bear every year. Never killed one. Never even seen a bear out in the wild. I have a buck called Captain Hook. I've been hunting for 3 years. I would like to ship him a open day this year. Do you have any advice? What state are you in? Again, you're down by Maryland. Again, I would get in if you have time now. I would get in and start getting some scrapes out and start patterning him through scrapes. I hunt predominantly over scrapes all year round. My property is 12 acres. The other property I hunt is 60 acres. When am I going live next again? Maybe Monday I'll go live again to do that. I try to go live a little bit more now than what I have in the past. I don't have school tomorrow. I'm a 8th grade social studies teacher. I don't have school tomorrow. I'm actually driving down to West Virginia to see my daughter. She goes to college down at Liberty, or West Liberty in West Virginia. So I'm going down to see her, pick her up, take her out for lunch for Valentine's Day, and I'm gonna go to the Cabela's and meet my friends. Oak Ridge Taxidermist. You can find my number on my website. If you go to my regular page, you can find my website. If not, message me, and I'll give you my phone number. We'll chat, and I'll run over some things with you, and help you pick your brain a little bit, and help you out. I actually killed my biggest PA buck this year on the very first day of the season, October 4th. It was 80 degrees. I patterned this buck hitting 2 different scrapes that I had set up in August, and I set up my stand between those two scrapes, and I killed him the first night when it was when it was 80 degrees. I never would have believed that would have happened. That I would have killed him on the first night. He was just a few eighths short of 135 inches. I'm going to buy your gland lure. Will it work in September? It'll work all year round, to be honest, and I use it all year round myself, and so that's how I run my scrapes. And again, give me a call and I'll walk you through everything and how I do it. And the Packer Fan 47, God bless you too, brother. You have a great night. Thank you for joining in and chatting with me. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, Oak Ridge Taxidermist, if you get in touch with me, I'll gladly talk with you on the phone and tell you what strategies I've done. If you go onto my page, there's a ton of videos there under the buck stick link, and under other ones on how I do my scrapes and how I do everything. I run cameras all year round, and I'm constantly gathering intel on deer. And I love talking about deer hunting. I love talking about gland communication, creating scrapes, making scrapes, all those different things. And started doing a lot of scrape hunting in 2010. And since 2010, there was only 1 year that I didn't kill a buck during the season over a scrape. And that was completely all me. I was after one particular buck, and I passed up probably 4 or 5 bucks that I shouldn't have. And so I didn't fill my tag that year. But every year, like I said, I'm getting out. I got communal scrapes that I've made that deer are, and I set my stands up between those and have a few of my food plots. So I'll gladly at any point in time sit down and talk shop with anybody. I had a guy from Idaho, I think it was, last year called and got some of the gland lure, and he killed a buck this year that was over 200 inches. That's me. I have one target buck, and that's all I want this year. Yep. And there's one thing I've really learned about that. I've gotten burned a lot of times in the last 10 years where I was hyper focused on one particular buck, and because I was hyper focused on that buck, I was missing easy things that he was doing, where I was thinking he was going to do one thing, but he was doing something else. And I passed up a bunch of bucks going after this guy, and the neighbor on the backside of the property actually killed him last year in 2024. And my daughter missed that buck in 2020, and this guy killed him in 2024, and he was one of the biggest bucks that I've ever been after in PA. And yeah, he found his sheds 3 days ago. He's 170, so next year he'll be a giant next year. If you really look, they'll really put on a lot of mass and a lot of time length and stuff as they get older, especially if they're in that 4 or 5 year old range. The buck I killed this year as a 3.5, he was about 110 inch deer, or even like 100 inch deer, and he blew up and put on a ton of weight, and he scored 134 5/8, and in PA that's a pretty good deer. I was watching a podcast the other day where they were talking about the average hunter will never kill a Pope and Young buck, and I was fortunate enough this year to kill 2. I killed a 126 inch deer in Ohio and a 134 inch deer here in PA. So he'll be 5.5. This guy, yeah, if he's 5.5, he could blow up over 200 for sure. And especially, I don't think you guys have as harsh of winters in Maryland as we do here. What's the closest place in Maryland by you? I got a few buddies that live down around Hagerstown and stuff like that that I know that hunting areas down there. But yeah, we can get you fixed up. Should I put the scrape right by my corn? Well, see, I don't have anything to go off with that, simply because we're not allowed to bait deer here in PA. So I have to hunt between ag and everything else. I don't know. I don't know if I would put the scrape near the corn, because if they're coming to the corn to eat, they're not going to communicate. You could put a scape. I would put a scrape on a main trail heading towards the corn. I'd actually probably put a few, maybe surrounding your bait pile, 10 or 15 yards away. So that's something. That's something that, like I said, I'm not familiar with, just for the fact that we are not allowed to bait deer here in PA. So we got to do it all without any type of bait or any type. We're not even. We have to be very careful about running minerals. If you have any minerals that you run and they leach into the soil, the Game Commission can actually come and test your soil, and if you have minerals in there, they can get you for baiting here in PA. It's just one of those goofy things. So, but we can talk about your property, your setup, everything. I like to set my scrapes up around funnels and around entrance and exits to bedding areas. So if you know where you have some natural funnels, or where you have some entrances and exits to bedding areas, that's one of the best places that I like to hang my make my scrapes and actually hang my stands, so I can play the wind that way. He shows up in the daylight about 5 times a year, but every time I'm there, he doesn't show up. Yeah, yeah. If they weren't so smart, we'd kill them all the time. And usually, honestly, big bucks like that, usually the best time to kill them is your first sit of the year, because they're not used to being there, or to wait till he gets into the rut, and hopefully, you have a doe bring him by. But I like my scrapes to be visited by does a lot, and does will communicate there and get the bucks to come into the scrapes. But yeah, they're smart. Like I said, they when they get to be 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, they're total different animal. And yeah, you have to be extremely smart and think out of the box. How are you accessing your stand? Are you walking by them? Is that self-tanned? This is self-tanned, yes. My buddy that's a taxidermist and I went through and we self-tanned that and finished it. It's pretty nice. That's an axis deer, but it's self-tanned. So I help a buddy that has a taxidermy shop, and we got that taken care of. So yeah, that's self-tanned. It was fun. He showed me and talked to me and how to do it, how to clean it up and everything, and put it in the pickle and shave it down and work it out and everything else. I do have a whitetail one down here too as well that's self-tanned, from a big doe that my daughter killed. I just found out he was bedding 30 yards from the truck watching me walk in. I found it. Yeah, you might have to think of your access path on how you're getting there. If he sees you when you're coming in, he's never going to come. He's never going to come by you. So, you could talk about adding some screening to your property so they can't see you coming in or out. Every time they see us, we're basically educating them on danger and how we, move. I'm guessing you're pretty good with your scent control, which is good. I do make a gland lure that's an interdigital mix that I like to put on my boots as I'm walking in and out. That's a buck interdigital mix, and it has a little bit of tarsal in it. And I've had good success with that. You can put it on a drag if you want, but I just like to put it on my boots and walk in and out. It's called Contender, and so it works pretty good. I usually go through probably 2 bottles of that in a year, just because you're using more of it on your boots to walk in and out. Whenever you're making scrapes, you'll see when you get the gland lure, there's a glass dropper that you can use. I use about a 1/2 ounce of gland lure to make my scrapes, if not less. And if the deer are hitting it quite frequently, I don't even go back and freshen it up until I'm ready to start hunting, because they will continue to go in. And basically what you're doing is you're introducing a phantom deer to that property that they don't know who it is, because each deer has their own unique scent from their glands, from their forehead gland, from their interdigital gland, salivary gland, from their interdigital gland. And so you're introducing a new buck to that property, and they're wondering who exactly, who is that buck, where is he from, and where is he, bedding, where is he coming from. So those are some tactics you can put into there. But there's a lot of information in that book that I wrote that I think will make the light bulb go off in your head, going, oh, I can't believe I didn't know that, or I didn't figure that out, because there's a lot of stuff that I keep learning all the time. I've already learned so much from you. Hey, not a problem. Like I said, I learn stuff all the time. Every time I go out, I try to learn something new. And again, that's why I run cameras and scrapes all year round. I want to see what they're doing and what's going on. And again, Oak Ridge Taxidermist, if you're going to buy the book, I said I do have them in paperback. The ebook, if you go on my website, the ebook is $8, and when it gets sent to you, it's in color, and you can keep that ebook on any device, your phone, whatever, anytime. If you want an autograph paper copy of it, let me know. I'll get it sent out to you. Give me another week or so, and I'll have some gland lore here, and we'll throw a little package together for you with the book and the gland lore and anything else you might want. And I said I'll help you out. I'll walk you through a bunch of stuff. And people are always like, is it a magic elixir? Will it help me kill this big buck? It definitely ups your odds. But again, we as humans need to be extremely careful on how we're getting in, how we're getting out, where we hang our stands, our thermals, all of that stuff. I tell people all the time, you kill a buck with a bow, the stars have aligned, because there's a lot of luck involved with taking a buck with a bow, having them close enough in range to, seal the deal. And a lot of the deer that I've killed over the past 20 years have been 15 to 20 yards. So that's really where it's at for me, and really what I like to do and what I'm really passionate about. So yeah, if you can find a different way in to access your stands where he's not seeing you, or you're not getting caught by him, I think your chances will go way up. Okay, store page looks good. Hey, thank you very much, Victor Flores. Yeah, I appreciate that. That you said store page looks good. I definitely appreciate that. Some of the stuff I'm sold out of at this point in time, and I'll have it restocked here within the next week or two. But again, I'll be doing some more lives and everything. And once our weather breaks, I'll actually go out and do some lives out in the field and show you guys how I do my scrapes and everything else. And how do I feel about ground blinds? I don't mind them. My daughter and I have hunted out of ground blinds before. Got to brush them in, and I have a tendency to get them out way early so that they get used to them. And you put it in and brush it into the right spot where it doesn't, where they're used to it, you're going to be pretty good. For me, I primarily hunt tree stands, lock-on stands. I use XOP stands because they have a really cool hanging system. I can get up a tree real quick and hang it. And I don't get too high up off the ground, maybe 15, 17 feet. I like to choose a tree that has a good backdrop, and it gives me a lot of seclusion. We got a lot of hemlock trees up here, so I like to hunt out of a hemlock tree because it does two things. Number one, the hemlock will help hide your scent, and it's got a lot of cover, so you can get away with a lot of movement. But again, I'm really over anal about my scent control and hunting the right winds. And probably the best thing I've added to my scent control repertoire over the last 2 years is Scent Thief. If you haven't used Scent Thief before, go to Tractor Supply or someplace like that and pick up a bottle of Scent Thief.